Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the Blowout Sports Podcast. I'm Ryan Hayes.
I'm Dylan Bracha.
We had a very interesting week of NFL football. Some would even say it was rigged.
Yes. This is 2 weeks in a row for the Chiefs of all teams to have to get help from the refs. We kind of glanced over it last week. Sauce Gardner made some comments, and we mentioned it. This week, out of hand, I think, in the fourth quarter.
It was egregious.
There was 3 calls, all of them very favorable for the Vikings.
Absolutely.
All picked up.
Yep. This has been happening with the Chiefs, I think, for a little while. I think that the NFL wants their Chiefs, their baby, to do really well. And that makes sense for the brand. Absolutely.
It's our cash cow right now.
Yeah, but when we have refs literally telling L'Jarius Sneed, put your helmet back
Insane.
on, that's a 15-yard penalty. Now, we can debate whether or not taking your helmet off should be a 15-yard penalty.
I agree.
But that's not the question here. It's the fact that an NFL ref told him to put the helmet back on instead
while
of
he's on
throwing
the
an immediate
field.
flag. Like that's a flag, and we've complained that it's a stupid flag, but it is a flag
Nonetheless.
And the fact that a ref is telling him, preventing a 15-yard penalty, and that would keep the drive alive as well, and we haven't even mentioned the blatant pass interference.
How about the roughing the passer?
Oh my
Kirk
goodness.
got leveled.
He got lit up on that play,
and Mahomes is
too.
on the sideline trying to call for a flick. It's clearly not. He's got his whole arm wrapped, and he's bringing him very hard to the ground.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a flag and a first down.
Sneed didn't even play the ball.
No.
He didn't attempt to play the ball.
And we're talking in the end zone. He was holding on to the jersey.
Right.
He's pulling him to the corner.
Not facing the ball.
Not facing the ball.
The
Like,
receiver.
that was crazy.
He
That's on the
gave up.
1 yard line.
He literally gave up on
Yes.
the play. And like he knew it was a flag. And then the refs have the nerve to pick it up.
Now, mind you, this is 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. There's no reason the Chiefs can't drive down the field and score a field goal or touchdown.
Yeah, they probably would.
But they win the game because they get the ball there and it's their possession up a score. It's crazy to me that that's the situation we're in the fourth quarter.
And what's crazy to me is I've talked to a couple of Chiefs fans that are a little tone deaf, I have to say, because we're not arguing that you wouldn't have won the game. You have Patrick Mahomes. I'm sure you would have. It's the fact that there's this pattern where the refs seem to favorably call. I mean, let's think about how they won the Super Bowl last year. It was the same.
It's very
same
much
exact thing. James Bradbury with the phantom hold.
And I mean, again, that's not to say they don't go to win the Super Bowl there.
They deserved it. Yeah,
it was a very well-fought game.
Yeah.
That was just, it eliminated the chance of the Eagles having an argument to win the game.
The Eagles should have had the opportunity to give a response, and they didn't. And that's the pattern at this point. And we're
a scary pattern.
Yeah, I don't like it.
This is, I mean, Vikings, I think, are better than the Jets in terms of right now what they have.
Probably.
The Jets were moving the ball last week, and they had every right to go down the field and score and win that game, which a lot of people were in agreement with.
Yeah.
This week, I think the Vikings scored there because they're on the 1 yard line, and then it's a coin toss at who shows up and wins the game. I'm not saying one or the other, but you're eliminating the chance. I think there's no need for that. Protect your Chiefs, but they lost week 1. They're not undefeated.
Yeah, no
what are we
one
doing
wants
here?
to see it. No one wants to see a game end like that. And it's always like, let them play, but like this time it's like, there was a blatant flag.
It's not just let them play here, though. This is 3 calls, all of which result in a first down.
Right.
And it's like, I'm not a Vikings fan, but as a non-partial here, come on.
I'd love to see calls like that go the Bears' way, but they don't. They do not.
Right.
What happened to Joe Burrow's calf? He's back.
He's back.
He's back.
He's back. Same thing that probably happened with Travis Kelce. He's got something that nobody else knows, and he's back, I think.
Yeah, he finally was given the ball to Jamar, and I heard Jamar was like, "I'm always open." People were upset about it. Joe is finally just giving him the ball because he is always.
He's
open.
always open. No Higbee as well, so I mean, he relied on him heavy, and that showed. He had 3 shy of 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like, what a game for Jamar Chase! What a game for Burrow to finally bounce back. They needed this win. They're looking to make the playoffs and maybe come back in the division, but this was a huge game for them.
Yeah, this is the first time that the Bengals have scored more than 24 points this year, which is pretty impressive. They put up 2 threes. The Bengals put up 2 threes this year, but they finally get 34. The Cardinals, they have given up points.
Yeah.
It will be interesting to see how they can do against the pass rush, how good is the calf. But, yeah, it looks like the Bengals are back, and a happy Jamar Chase is a good Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I mean, you need some momentum at some point, and Cardinals have proven they're no pushover by any means. Like, they beat Dallas. They were contesting with some other teams, like the Niners. Like, no pushover by any means necessary.
Absolutely. A good foundation to build a little winning streak on, hopefully, if you're a Bengals fan.
They're hoping.
Over to another elite wide receiver who got a nice 3-touchdown game. He was also kind of complaining about the offense not utilizing DJ Moore. 3 touchdowns. Thursday Night Football record, 230 yards.
Huge. I was watching the game. I didn't think I was going to be, but I threw it on. I have DJ Moore in fantasy. I was texting you the whole game.
Yeah, we were.
I was so happy to see them actually just going nuclear with him.
It was just amazing.
I loved it. He loved it. Field test, I love it. Like, this is what you got to do with this offense. I said it, week 2? I was like, you got to feed the ball to DJ Moore. You traded all this for him.
So much.
Use him.
Finally, they do it. It's been so refreshing to see Justin Fields play like the quarterback we know, because we were talking, it was probably after the Chiefs game. Everybody was really low, and all I could think is, man, I hope we find a way to keep this guy.
Right,
let's find a way to, put him in positions to succeed.
Exactly.
And they finally started to do that. He's just giving it to DJ Moore. Couldn't get the connection with Darnell Mooney going as good as they would have liked.
Yeah, he missed a couple there.
Yeah, two good opportunities they had in the first half. Cole Kmet has, he had
a good game.
Yeah, he's got the extension, and he's showing everybody why they did it. And the only other tight end to catch a ball the whole game was Robert Tonyan. They had only 3 receivers caught passes in that game for the Bears, which is...
Did Khalil get any?
No receptions. He had a good game on the ground before the hamstring. He almost had one. He got injured dropping a pass.
I saw that. That was his body contorted.
Yeah, it was weird. That. It was weird. I liked what I saw on that play, though. Even though Herbert got injured, that was bad. But I liked seeing Fields get out of the pocket and throw the loft over. It ended up going poorly, but I liked what I saw there. Great game.
Yeah, as a Bears fan, you finally on the board.
Finally on the board.
One team left with no wins, being the Panthers, but you gotta feel good.
It's a relief.
Yeah,
honestly, it's like, this team, is capable of some of the things.
And Fields is finally showing those tools again that we saw last year,
right?
And throwing the ball a lot better than we've seen.
Yeah, he's throwing it. It's not a bunch of runs he's relying on. He's actually getting the run off the pass. They had to put a bunch of guys in coverage because he was kind of lighting everybody up. So, he was able to get some running lanes because of it.
Huge game. Huge game for the Bears.
Over to another 3-touchdown game.
Yeah, hat tricks for the
first 3 of the year.
Yeah.
Finally gets on the board with 3.
Huge game for Kittle. He came into that game electric. He left the game electric. Oh, yeah. That shirt was great.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I'm waiting to see if he gets any sort of fine from that, and I'm assuming he does.
I saw it considering. I thought they would just do it.
I'm not sure. They didn't air it on television. They were smart to get that off, but I thought it was funny. I know Dallas fans aren't going to be too fond of it.
Yeah, and why don't they do something about it then?
Micah Parsons already thinks they can. And I mean, I don't know if he watched the game. He was in it.
Yeah.
That wasn't close.
To rub it in. Imagine if the 49ers beat them again. They're rubbing it in.
They could.
That's telling the opponent, I'm better than you. Yeah. I know it. I'm going to wear an undershirt,
right?
And
it's crazy. He came into that game wearing it.
He came in knowing.
Then he comes in scoring. That was off the third touchdown.
It wasn't even the first touchdown.
He waited. I couldn't believe it.
Because I guess he just knew he was getting more touchdowns.
Yeah, I guess. Kittle, man.
He's a dog.
He is a dog. I'm glad they're finally using him again in the pass game.
No, it's nice. On the other side of the ball, it wasn't pretty, though.
No. Dak Prescott did not look great.
Yeah. He was my best player in fantasy this week, besides DJ Moore. My opponent had him.
Yes, he was giving the ball to the Niners more than the Niners were.
Yeah.
3 picks, and that airmail one he had, just throwing it deep.
Gibson. Oh
that was terrible.
Yeah, I don't know what he saw. It was double coverage. The corner was blanketing him, too.
How do you not just throw that one away?
Yeah, I mean, there was intense pressure on him. But
so throw it away.
Yeah,
that was ugly. You don't have to air it out.
It was like amateur. It looked like something that you would expect him to do when he was a rookie, but he only threw 4 picks when he was a rookie. These picks are new, for Dak. Not new, but it's older Dak that has struggled with the
It doesn't make
turnovers.
sense. Yeah, and He had some easier throws he could have made in some spots, and he missed the reads, and you are under immense pressure when you're facing the Niners, but he just missed a lot.
I think it's because he doesn't have the O-line he had at the beginning of his career and the dominant run game with Zeke. That used to just be so big for them. And I'm not saying Zeke leaving is why they're struggling. I think it's been a process.
Well, Zeke wasn't Zeke when he was there the last years, and Pollard is a great running back, but we haven't seen him at the same level we have seen him last year. So, yes, I think the running game not being a factor this year is playing an immense part on that.
Right. That mid-teens line they had was like on par with the 90s, I feel like. They were dominant. They never won anything really, but they would just dominate teams.
They would.
Marco Murray with that big year.
Mm-hmm.
But the Bills, a lot of injuries this week.
Yeah, Bills fans aren't happy about that London game.
No.
Not with the result, and they're not with the result of the injuries. Matt Milano, IR, out for the year.
Out for the year?
Out for the year. He had let me pull up the injury, but he just signed an extension. Like, he got money this year.
He can't be happy. They looked like they were sleepwalking. They weren't getting in all the stretches that they needed to. You can't have your normal week. The Jags had a massive advantage going into that game because they had been in London for over a week at that point.
Yeah, so they spend the week in London, and like they won last week. Right. They're coming in. It's pretty much a home game at this point for them.
Absolutely.
And jet lag, I think, plays a big factor. I don't think it's the only reason. I come to London earlier if you're the Bills.
Yeah, you could, but at the end of the day, I mean, your opponent, and they're used to it too. If you're a Jags player and you've been on the team for a few years, you've made multiple trips to London at this point. And it's too bad that the Bills are having all these injuries, but luckily, they'll have a little bit more time to figure it out. That they have to play the Giants next week, and the Giants are pretty battered too.
Yeah, that injury report's crazy. You said it was pretty much the whole team, and Daniel Jones is the biggest name on there. Missing practice again today. So this is 2 practices he's missed. I'm not sure if he's going to play this Sunday.
Could we see Tyrod Taylor?
I mean, for me, that's the hope. I would love to see Tyrod Taylor play.
Yeah, he's fun.
He is a fun quarterback.
He deserves the opportunity, too.
He's had so many opportunities taken away from him.
He's always been solid. He's a good backup to have. It's interesting. I think that's an interesting backup for Daniel Jones.
I was surprised, you know. Matt Milano, it was a knee injury.
Okay.
So it's a leg fracture.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's tough.
He's out for the season. And again, he just got paid. Like Daniel Jones just got paid too. This injury for him, I think, is concussion. I don't think it's as big, but injuries are a part of the game. You don't want to see them. A lot of blows to both of those teams.
So this is kind of a fringer topic, but not fringe if you're a Falcons fan. But Desmond Ridder, did he do enough? He had probably the best game of his career,
I'd say,
last week.
Mm-hmm.
There was people talking about that he needs to improve if he wants to keep his job. So what would it take for the Falcons to bench Desmond Ridder?
I don't know. It's a tough question. He's got really good competition there in the form of Taylor Heineke. I've been a fan of his for the past few seasons. I like what he brings to the field. I'm not saying he's going to win you a Super Bowl, but I think Atlanta has been the Bijan show. He's been what's taking over Atlanta and bringing them to this new heights. I don't know what necessarily deems him benchable. The team might have to lose faith in what he brings. And if they have faith for him to be a franchise guy, they can't bench him because that's going to ruin his confidence going forward.
Yeah, finally getting Kyle Pitts involved. Drake London, he's been getting going.
Jonnu Smith has been a big target for them.
I like what the Falcons have going. I don't think they should mess with it personally. They're 3-2, but I already saw the team wanted to mess with it after losing 2 in a row, and that you just can't do that. Ridder was a 3rd-round pick, and the organization seems to believe in him.
They really do believe in him. Coming into this year, they were really excited to see what he brought.
I hope they stick with him. You can't just bench a quarterback so quickly, but I won't stop people from wanting to do it.
Well, speaking of backup quarterbacks, looks like Minshew Mania back again this Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
AR, Anthony Richardson, got his worst injury here, AC joint.
AC joint.
That's a rough blow if you're the Colts.
Yeah, he takes too many hits as he plays. And you sound like an old head, but like you just can't. You're not wearing as much padding as the guy hitting you. Like
he thinks he's Josh Allen, and I mean Josh Allen takes a lot of unnecessary hits, and he's very lucky he hasn't gotten any.
And
of
that's
these
the
injuries.
biggest knock on him too. Yeah. It's like Richardson has a really great arm, and you don't add any value to your team when you're on the IR. So.
No, I mean he's gonna miss games.
Yeah.
And they're lucky to have a good backup in Minshew, but this is gonna stunt their momentum going forward.
Yeah, I was seeing Pat McAfee wants to keep Minshew the whole career. Minshew might just play his way into a starting job.
He could,
he's
of
pretty
all,
good.
What a game he had against the Ravens to win. And now he has a chance this week to do it again.
He deserves this opportunity.
I didn't think he was bad his last couple stints. He's taken the backup role. He wanted to be a starter going into this year. So that drive is still there for him. We can see him get a starting job next year. I'm not ruling it out. You have teams like the Vikings that are potentially moving on. The Giants might look for a cheaper alternative to Daniel Jones to at least have there. I'm not ruling him out for a starting job.
Minshew has never been bad. You look through all the stats, all the tape. Gardner Minshew has always been a very solid quarterback. He gets replaced. He gets in these weird situations. He's replaced by Trevor Lawrence. Like, you know, I mean, that's just gonna happen.
Trevor Lawrence, the Eagles situation. You know, Carson Wentz. Back when he was Carson Wentz.
There's a lot of talented quarterbacks that are available that are just, I mean. Back up to Hurts. Hurts. I'd love to see Minshew get that opportunity because he definitely deserves it.
I'd like to see what he can do.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's proving it right now with the Colts. You know, he's earned it. I think.
I think he plays well, and I think the Colts win some games. So,
yeah.
Now I know we're only going into week 6 here.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to know who is your MVP pick.
All right, so. This is a quarterback award, but I kind of, so far, haven't been too impressed by a singular quarterback to really say, this guy's leading their team to all this success. Mind you, there's one 5-0 team, and I don't think it's the quarterback who's leading them. My pick's Christian McCaffrey.
Makes a lot of sense.
Stay healthy all year and put up the numbers he's putting up. How are you going to dispute that?
Right when you said it's not a quarterback, I knew that's where you were going.
I really like what he's brought to the team. I mean, they're 5-0. You always got to look to that. What's the successful teams? I mean, you can look at the Chiefs and say Mahomes, but I don't think Mahomes has done anything spectacular MVP numbers yet.
Right.
The picks have been up. Touchdowns have been down. Yards have been down. And then you got to look at Josh Allen. They're 3-2. You know, that he's not putting up crazy numbers either. If you're looking at the quarterbacks around the league, you're not saying this guy stands head and shoulders above everybody else, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And I mean, how can you even argue with the stats? He's at 510 rushing yards.
Yeah.
He has 7 touchdowns on the ground. I'm trying to find his receipt. He's got a touchdown through the air too. Just a lot. It's 678 total. So he's got 168.
I mean, picture what this could mean if he plays 17 games. Like those numbers can be record breaking.
25 touchdowns easily.
Like, that's not usual.
No, not at all.
So if he does that all season, he's got a streak. I know you can't take in past seasons, but what is this? 15 games straight with a touchdown?
Right.
That's incredible.
He keeps going. Every game with the Niners, he's scored a touchdown. And my pick for MVP, I was going with Brock Purdy, honestly. But, same deal. I mean, he's got the 9 touchdowns, no picks.
Yeah, he is playing well.
1,200 yards. But, I mean, who do you attribute the success to more? That's going to be a subjective decision for the voter at that point, The Niners rush. I almost want to give it to their entire offensive line because they're the ones that really deserve it. I mean, that zone blocking scheme. They're a unit. They are what a football team is supposed to look like. I think every NFL team should try to, emulate things that the Niners do on any level that they can within their own schemes. And then you see the disciple, McDaniel, go over to the Dolphins and perfect a zone blocking scheme of his own with, Tua. It's fun to watch.
It definitely is. I mean, look at the offense they put up just this past week against a good defense in Dallas.
They make any team look like they're not trying.
Yeah. I mean, these throws from Purdy looked effortless. That game was something special. Just every time he flicked it down the field, it was a catch.
Purdy does not have bad games, and he has a 72% completion percentage.
That's really
He's
good.
coming for that record.
Yeah,
I
that
believe
is
it's
really
Bradford
good.
around 70% is the record.
Yeah.
He can get that easily. There's no reason.
Going off prior accolades, he's the first quarterback to ever start his first 2 seasons 5-0.
Wow. Yeah, he hasn't lost a game.
Hasn't lost
He
a
hasn't
regular
lost
season game.
Interesting. Brock Purdy seems pretty dangerous.
He does, and I mean, a lot of disrespect's cast towards him because of where he's at.
Mr. Irrelevant.
But I mean, like, he's made the most of where he's at.
Yeah.
In terms of, yes, he has talent, but he's not sucking. He's not losing them games. He is helping them win games. And he's doing it in different ways. This week was Kittle's week.
Right.
McCaffrey's had weeks. Brandon Ayuk had the first game. He played amazing. Like, it's everybody stepping up at different times.
Right. Nobody's made more of an opportunity, and he's a likable guy.
He
Still
is,
living
yeah.
in the apartment. Was driving.
Well, I mean, he's on that minimum
Yeah.
contract. I mean, if I'm the
Pay
Niners,
the
maybe give
man.
him a little
Yeah,
money.
Give him a bonus.
Give
or
him some sort of
something.
bonus here.
I'm sure they're helping him out.
Yeah, there's got to be something.
Yeah. Ready to move into
let's do
some
some
matchups
picks.
next week. We're recording on the Thursday today
Yeah.
here, so we got a game coming up.
We
in
have a
just
game tonight.
5 hours or so.
And I do want to give you praise before we start. You beat me this week.
Hell,
Congrats.
finally.
I
It's
know.
about time.
11 for 14 this week for you.
Feeling good about
yeah,
that.
I missed a lot. I only had 8, so big ups to you. I wanted to
Appreciate
give
it.
you your flowers.
Thank you.
But back on pace for tonight, Thursday night football. We got Chiefs, Broncos.
And Arrowhead. This should be an interesting one. I think Pacheco is must start if you have him.
Yeah.
I could see the ground game going a little wild for the Chiefs tonight.
Brees Hall last week was that guy against.
This game could get ugly. This
Yeah.
game could get pretty ugly.
I don't really see this being that close.
I don't either. I don't see how the Broncos are going to be able to accomplish almost anything. They're hungry. I'll give them that. Their only win has come against the Bears.
That must sting.
Yeah.
A little bit to say.
Yeah,
but
it almost does sting, but it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
They don't have the ability to keep up with a team like Kansas City. They're a juggernaut. They're much better coached. I like Sean Payton, but there's some
I
sort
haven't
of
liked him this year.
terrible issue with the Broncos culture, and I
Yeah.
think it might be a Broncos problem.
It might be.
Like whatever.
He hasn't aided to that culture,
Yeah.
though. You know, calling out Hackett.
right.
And, you know.
He has kind of just fueled it. a
Yeah,
little bit.
I don't think he's helped too much.
I don't know what's the issue with Denver. Is it Russell Wilson? Is it? It seems foundational though.
Yeah.
It
I mean,
seems-
Russ has played better this year.
Yeah.
But he also hasn't played to a level they need him at.
Right. They have some elite talent on their defense, but they do
They have
not
not
get
shown
elite
up.
production
No.
out of it whatsoever. They're, struggling in almost every single category. Both top wide receivers are on the trade block. Cortland
Yeah.
Sutton, Jerry Jeudy looking to be sent out. One bright spot, Jaleel McLaughlin looks pretty great.
Yeah.
But man, the Chiefs, they're gonna steamroll them.
Yeah, I've got the Chiefs here too. I think it's gonna be a pretty big blowout. Not much more to say about it. I just don't think the Broncos can compete with it. Even divisional wise, I just don't see them matching up well against the Chiefs.
Agreed. Now, just a little Taylor Swift prediction. Will she be in attendance?
Let's see. This one's in Arrowhead,
Yep,
correct?
in Arrowhead.
I would like to imagine she's going to be there.
I'm leaning
and
yes.
That's
I'm
only
leaning
if
yes.
Travis Kelce is playing.
Right.
I believe he's going to.
I think
he's still
so.
been questionable, but he's practiced.
I feel that I would get a breaking news notification.
Yeah.
If it wasn't.
I have them, so I
Yeah.
typically get those too. But I would like to think she's there, and I think she's going to be all over social media again, unfortunately.
Yes. We will see.
Yeah.
Should be an interesting game. I'm taking Chiefs all day.
Yeah, I've got the Chiefs too. So
don't
let's shift over. Sunday morning, we're back in London,
Back
but
in
it's
London.
not the Jags. Ravens, Titans.
Ravens Titans. This is the most. You got to think the people in London were a little confused when they were told that this was the matchup that they were getting. An interesting game in general. The Ravens are coming off a tough week. It's always tough when you have to play the Steelers, probably battered and bruised. Now they have to go to London to play the Titans, who finally got DeAndre Hopkins going a little bit last week.
Yeah, he did.
It's
He
nice
did
to
have a
see.
good game last week.
Tannehill giving some good balls.
Can he do that all season?
That's a hard game to call.
It is a tough one.
Because it's a crapshoot, really. I mean, they're playing in London. I honestly think that's a humongous variable that cannot be understated.
Yeah.
It will come down to whichever coach prepares his guys better for the task at hand.
Yeah, I mean, are they going to fly to London earlier than the night before, you know? I don't know when the Bills decide to take the trip.
Yeah.
But if you're complaining about jet lag,
Yeah.
you're going too late.
I wish we could get some insight onto when these teams are traveling.
I would like to know.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if we're going to have a game like last week in terms of injuries,
Yep.
two very big variables can happen, you know? You got King Henry on one side, you got Lamar on the other. I wouldn't want to lose either of those guys.
Absolutely not. I think the Ravens get it done here. Jeez, Derrick Henry could go off.
You do not sound confident.
No, I'm not confident. I mean, yeah, Ravens. I'm going with the Ravens.
Yeah,
I think John Harbaugh gets the boys going.
I think the Ravens have to bounce back here. You
Yeah.
know, that was a kind of tough loss for them last week, giving up that
pretty
touchdown at the end. Yeah, I've got the Ravens here too. I just think they're a little bit better than the Titans.
They got more talent, and that's the only thing I can go off here. You know,
Yeah.
it's not a home game for either team.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a lot of unknowns, so I'm taking Ravens unconfidently.
Yeah, it's unconfident. I have a lot of unconfident picks coming up tonight.
Same. A lot of close matchups this week. Coming back to America, though, we got Carolina going down to Miami to play the Dolphins.
Yeah, this
Might be
one I
ugly.
don't think is going to be a close matchup.
Yeah.
Just like the Thursday night game, I think the Dolphins pretty much decimate here. I think there's a possibility that Bryce Young can stem together some offense, put up some points, but I do think the Dolphins do win this game pretty sizably here.
I agree. This is the type of game you expect. The Dolphins want to be seen as that Super Bowl contending team, top team. Go dominate the Panthers. Win a game that you should win, and don't mess around with it. Win by a couple touchdowns, and that'll get people to respect them a little bit more after a tough loss to the Bills. Dolphins all day. For me.
I agree. Next, we got the Saints versus the Texans. This one can go either way.
Yeah, I personally, I'm a believer in the Saints.
Okay.
Talking in NFL circles, that's not as a popular of an opinion, but I like the Saints. I think Dennis Allen, solid scheme, well coached, solid players on defense, and they've played together, most of them, for a long time. They're just a unit, and they're just going to be good. I think Derek Carr is going to continue to sling the rock, and they win it against the Texans. It's not going to be a confident win, but I think they slug it out.
See, I think where the Saints have been thriving is their defense, and C.J. Stroud has been thriving with not throwing to the defense. You know, no picks so far in his rookie career, and that's big testament to a rookie quarterback.
Absolutely.
I think the Texans might be able to sneak by with this one. If he plays clean football, you're gonna have to ask the Saints to match what they do, and I don't know. I haven't seen enough out of Derek Carr to say, he's 100% healthy. I haven't seen enough to see if he can 100% take this team to where they need to be. So it's a lot of variables that I don't want to bet on yet. So give me the Texans.
Texans. All right, that just gave me. I have a prop. I think Stroud throws his first INT.
You think?
I think so.
You think so?
I think it ends this week.
It's up in the air.
I think they blitz him heavy. I think the Saints are gonna want it too. I think they're gonna be like, I want to get his first pick. I think they're gonna send a lot of pressure.
Well, they're gonna need to send pressure if they want to do it.
You can't let Stroud get comfortable because he will.
I mean. I know no Tank Dell that game. That's going to be a big blow for the offense. But
Absolutely.
Nico Collins game could happen. They got running backs.
Yeah, they got some offense. I think it'll be a competitive game.
Yeah.
Commanders and Falcons. Commanders coming off a tough Thursday night game, but they have a lot of time to recover. Falcons coming off an emotional win. Younghoe Koo
Yes.
hits the game winner.
Nothing new to him.
Nothing new to Koo. He hits those.
Yes, he does.
Falcons, Ritter responded well to the
he did.
negativity, and Desmond Ritter has never lost a home game in college or the NFL, and I think he keeps that streak alive. I like Desmond Ritter.
That's a interesting fact right there. I also think I just don't know what we're getting out of the Commanders on a week-to-week basis. It sucks. Like, it's one of those teams. It's like, I think they have potential. Sam Howell has shown it. You have Terry McLaurin there. That's a great wide receiver. There's potential there, and the defense has potential there. I just don't think they've unlocked it yet. So I think Atlanta. I think it's going to be a really close game, but I think Atlanta can pull through.
I agree. Colts, Jags, they've already played this year, right?
Yes, that was the opening game for them.
Right, and the Colts won against.
No,
the Jags won?
The Jags snuck
it
it out.
The Jags squeaked it.
Yeah,
Okay.
in Indy.
Okay, the Jags squeaked it. That means the Colts are squeaking it this
You
week.
think?
Revenge game.
Okay.
Gardner Minshew is going to tell the Jags, you never should have gotten rid of me. He's going to
That's
throw
a
for 3
huge
touchdowns. Gardner Minshew all day. 3
See,
touchdowns.
I love the pick, but there's one factor you're forgetting. They're playing in Jacksonville. That is Indy's kryptonite. Give me the Jags. I'm not messing with fate. I should have picked them last week when it comes to London.
Should've.
When they're home against the Colts, they win.
All right.
Simple as that.
All right, I'm taking Minshew.
I
breaks
love
the
it.
curse.
I
He
love
breaks the
it.
curse. All right, we got Seahawks and Bengals, the revitalized Joe Burrow.
This is gonna be
the revitalized Geno Smith.
This is going to be a great game, I think. Both teams looking to make a statement here. Who wants it more? I don't know if that's really going to be the determining factor for this, but I think the Bengals finally have something here. And if they want to actually go out and say, we're a team to be a threat, they have to beat the Seahawks. This is their first real test of a big team they can beat with a healthier lineup in terms of Joe Burrow being better looking in terms of the calf. I don't know. Give me Joe Burrow. Give me the Bengals.
Oh, I think that the Seattle Seahawks are a very, very fun team to watch defensively.
I do too.
And they are getting their leader back again after he only played 4 plays.
The
Jamal
best in the
Adams.
nation's back.
He has cleared concussion
Oh,
protocol.
let's go.
Blitz boy. I hate that nickname.
Yeah, he is good at blitzing.
Oh, he's great
He
at
is great
blitzing. They got him. They got Devin Witherspoon. They got, I think Kobe Bryant's coming back. They have Tariq Woolen. They're calling him Reek Woolen now.
I love that. That's dope.
They have such a good secondary.
Yeah.
And they have B-Wags up top. Again, I love the Seahawks.
Their defense is very fun. Side note, I play Madden, face of the franchise type thing with you're the quarterback. I got drafted them. They're so much fun to use.
The Seahawks are awesome.
They're loaded on offense. They're loaded on defense.
They're so cool.
They are a fun team to get behind.
DK burns somebody every week. I think the Seahawks are going to be too much for the Bengals.
You do.
I really do. I think their secondary is going to kind of shut them down a little bit.
Yeah. Well, Jamar Chase is always open.
He's unshutdownable, but I think they find a way. Double team him. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do. I like the Seahawks.
I love
Pete
it.
Carroll's smart.
That's going to be a fun game to watch.
Oh, yeah. Vikings, Bears.
I want to hear your opinion on the Bears first before I go.
Yeah?
I do.
I'm picking the Bears.
You're going in.
Absolutely.
He's back on the Bears bandwagon.
I'm feeling pretty good about it, too.
Yeah.
They got no Jefferson.
Yes, that's a huge factor.
The Vikings have a pretty poor secondary, just in general. They have some guys on defense, but they're not particularly scary. I think the Bears can kind of run their scheme around them and be effective. And I think if they can give it to their best players, a lot like DJ Moore and Cole Kmet, and Justin Fields, they'll make electric plays kind of just out of nothing because I think they're just more athletic than the defense they're playing. And then the Bears finally showed me something on defense too.
Yeah, they did look good.
Yeah,
they did look good.
And they
First
were playing.
half.
That was like their backup secondary.
Really?
Completely. So they have Kyler Gordon coming back from injury. Jalen Johnson is expected to return as well.
Yeah.
And Eddie Jackson as well. So we should see some more from them.
Awesome. I like the Bears too here. I think no Jefferson's a huge blow. I think other guys step up, and I think Kirk's been playing amazing this year. Shout out to Kirko. But the Bears are on fire right now, and I don't think the Vikings defense has enough to actually try to put that fire out. I don't know. DJ Moore is electric. Justin Fields has been playing great these last 2 starts. I like the Bears' chances here.
I like the Bears too. I think Roshan might be in the game. Khalil Herbert's going to be out, but I like their backups. Give me the Bears.
Yeah, Foreman's a great backup to have too.
He is. 49ers Browns. That's going to be a tough one. I've seen some memes this week about that Myles Garrett jacket. Brock's like, "Oh, I'm confident this week." And they're like, "Watch out for Myles Garrett."
Yeah, this one's going to be a good defensive battle, I think. I love what we got from the Niners defense. I think the Browns defense, when they show up, they're no pushover either. I don't expect a lot of points in this one. I don't expect a lot of touchdowns, I could be wrong,
Yeah.
but I still like the Niners, and I still think Christian McCaffrey scores a touchdown.
I agree. I think that should be an ugly game. It's going to be tough on Cleveland, dirty field. You know, it's probably going to be everybody's got dirt all over their jerseys. I'm sure it'll start raining too.
Oh, yeah, perfect for that game.
I hope it rains. I hope we get everything we're expecting out of that. Good defensive battle, and then the Niners, you know, they'll scheme their way into
crazy that's only a 1 o'clock game.
Yeah.
That to me would be a
could
great
be a good-
primetime game.
even the 425.
Yeah, game of the week, something.
Patriots. Oh, I'm taking the Niners.
Yeah.
Patriots, Raiders.
Ugh.
Interesting.
Give me the Raiders. I'm really hoping that no matter what we think we're going to do, we lose. I really want to see us start looking at the future, and the future is a better draft pick. Let's be honest. I don't think Mac's going to be the guy going forward for us. I would like to see a veteran come in. You kind of alluded to that.
Yeah.
I'd kind of be on board for Kirko.
Yeah.
Pat's uniform. And what better than to get an elite wide receiver in Marvin Harrison? That's what I would hope. But we'll see what they do. This could be a game they end up turning it up and winning. I just don't want them to.
Yeah.
I really want to see him lose. I want to see him start thinking, Mac's not the guy. We got to do some changes here. The defense is looking great for next year, but this year they're all hurt. So let's start thinking about next year's plans, because you pay the right guys, get that retained, and then you look at the offense and say, here's what we can fix. I like our future more than I like our present. Give me the Raiders.
This is such a hard game to call because, like, my brain's like, all right, Belichick's going to take McDaniels to school here. You know, it's
McDaniels has our number, though. I'm not
Yeah.
going to lie. He's one of those coaches that usually, last year he did it, this year.
It's a hard way. I mean, you go either way with it. But, you know, that game, you know, the Raiders only won on that.
I know.
that
We threw it
crazy
away.
play.
We did throw it away.
Man, I think that the Patriots are going to put a lot of effort into stopping Devontae Adams.
Yeah,
and
I
I
do
think
too.
Jacoby Myers is going to have a good game
I do too.
because I think
It's a revenge game for him. You know, they
Right.
chose Juju pretty
Right.
much over him. They gave him the same contract that Jacoby got. I don't know in what world they were thinking that Jacoby's not better than Juju.
Jacoby's obviously better than
He's
Juju.
much better. I mean, he's proven it this season. Juju's been injured all season. He's younger, Jacoby being. I don't know what their thought process was in moving on from him.
I'm expecting a really big game out of Jacoby Myers this week, but I do believe that the Patriots are going to find a way. I think that they're just gonna.
I also
score
hope
some
you're
points.
wrong, man. I really like.
Max got an ego at the end of the day, and
does.
He's not gonna appreciate everything. That's
He's
being
playing
said
for a
about
job
him.
right now,
Yeah,
though, too. Like, he's got the player option on the table, and if he doesn't be like, oh, I can lead this team, you know, like you said, it's like he's not gonna have a job, and his ego's broken. I don't know where he goes from here if it's not a backup role for us or something.
I think, given everything I know, I've somebody who has not liked Mac Jones his entire time he's
That's
been in the NFL, and for the first time, I'm kind of rooting for him in a way. Not that I wasn't rooting for him, I just didn't like. I mean, it was like
Yeah.
a competition to
It's
Justin
fair.
Fields,
Yeah.
almost like always being compared. And
It
I
is.
wanted Fields in the draft process. I did not
I
want
did
Mac.
too.
But he has ability. He has the ability to read NFL defenses, and
Yeah.
he needs to calm down. And I think
I mean,
he can do
I think
that.
a big problem, the O-line's been terrible this year. And he's not given the time. I mean, he's making wrong decisions, and he's thrown some bad balls as of late. But the first two games, you looked at and you're like, where'd this go? You know,
Right.
he made some of the right throws, and he's made good throws. Maybe they've become increasingly risky because he has thrown bad picks, 2 pick sixes 2 weeks in a row. Like, it's just like, it's bad football from him,
Right.
and he's got to turn it around. But I don't really want him to. Like, I've kind of moved on. I don't want to get back behind him
Yeah.
and see this sort of wishy-washy offense every year.
It's tough. He's a cerebral player, and in my opinion, Mac was never actually talented enough to actually be a starter in the NFL,
Okay.
just given the lack of arm strength.
Yeah.
But
He's improved on that, though.
Right.
Like,
it's just
I think he has the quantities. I just don't know. Like,
I just
don't
those
know.
balls where you need him to fire it in. I just feel that he limits what you can do as an
Yeah.
offense, and then you have really good weapons and a good line. Like, you can be like, all right, you know, you just got to get it in this general
I
area.
know. I mean, it'd be nice to see what he could do with somebody like a Justin Jefferson or
Oh,
a
yeah.
Diggs or an Adams. Like, you know, he never got a guy
Right.
that's, you know, an X factor.
He'll stay in the league. I mean,
yeah,
he's shown more than enough to do that.
He's definitely earned a job somewhere.
Absolutely, it's just.
I think it's time. If you're the Patriots, you have to move on.
You're not getting. He's a backup.
Yeah,
he's a backup.
At least for what we're looking to do.
Yeah. Lions Bucks. It's an interesting matchup.
This game's gonna be a fun one, I think.
Yeah. I look at this game and it's weird. I mean, if you think about what this game would be 2 years ago, it would be completely different.
Right.
It would be Tom Brady versus the worst team in the NFL. Yeah. But now
it's not Tom Brady.
It's not that at all.
And the Lions are one of the more fun teams to watch in the NFL.
And the Bucks,
the Bucks have been really
they're just
good.
That's the thing. It's easy to just want to pick the Lions to keep it going, but Baker Mayfield's got the boys going. It's
Mike Evans seems to be coming back. They had a huge bye week last week to get people healthy and rested.
That'll help them big time. The Lions have been stifling teams against the run. I know they've had some injuries in their secondary.
Yeah.
I think Sutton went down.
Lions defense has been playing well. I will give them that. Last couple weeks, I've been impressed for what they've done.
It's a hard game to call. I think the Bucks, honestly, give the Lions some serious issues in the receiving game.
There's nothing wrong with that pick. I've really been a fan of what the Bucks have done this year. Baker Mayfield has done what he's done before. This is no surprise to me what he brings.
Yeah.
His years in Cleveland, I thought were pretty good. His last season, he played hurt. You can't really discredit him that much. He goes to the Rams, wins a game, 2 days on the team. Not really a lot of knowledge, He didn't have the greatest stint after that, but he got a fresh season, a fresh start.
Full training camp.
A full training camp. He gets to really adjust. They have great weapons there in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
This isn't a complete shock to me, at least. I'm not predicting them to go to the playoffs or anything, but they have a good team.
Yeah, absolutely.
They have the skeleton of a Super Bowl team that won 2 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah, they ultimately, what this pick comes down for me is that I think that the Bucks will be able to stop the Lions more than the Lions will be able to stop the Bucks.
That's a fair assessment.
So I think that the Bucks win a high-scoring game there.
Okay, that would be fun football for the 425 window.
It would be.
How about this divisional game, Cardinals-Rams?
Cardinals-Rams. This one, to me, is kind of easy.
Yeah.
I think that the Rams kind of dominate here. They got Cooper Kupp back. Puka looks pretty good. They have a lot of weapons on offense and a real smart coach. And the Cardinals, they've been pretty good. I think they've overperformed given the talent on their team, but I think the Rams will just be too much.
No, James Conner's a big blow. I don't know how much they can do it without. I don't know what their even backup is.
God.
It's not Chase Edmonds.
Ben McCarty.
Oh, okay. I've never heard of him.
Yeah.
So I don't know. If they have no run game, and mind you, the Rams are really good at eliminating the run game. That's not a team you run all over. Their secondary will be more open.
Emari DeMarcado.
Yeah. Good luck in your first start. The Rams have a tough defense to move on. I like the Rams in this game just because the Cardinals have slipped up a little bit. Not to say they're bad, because they've shown a lot more than anybody expected.
Yeah. I think when you're a team like the Cardinals and you get off to a good start, or if you're a team like the Rams and you get off to a good start and you lose a couple of guys, like they just traded Van Jefferson, for example, you figure it out. You're okay because you still have these more talented guys.
Cooper Kupp coming back is going to be something. To watch Puka Nacua now either be more open or less covered, I don't know.
Right.
What shape is Cooper going to be in with this injury? I don't know. But I think they're going to be okay.
Right.
And I think that offense is going to be okay.
Yeah, when you're a team like a Cardinals and you start losing guys, then they add up bigger than they would if
it's a big blow because they don't have a lot of guys
there. They don't have depth. And that's something they just developed throughout the course of the rebuild. And hopefully they're successful. But Rams.
Yep, me as well.
Eagles, Jets in New York.
Fun stat here. The Eagles have never lost to the Jets in the history of the NFL.
Ever?
Never lost.
Wow.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that stays intact.
I would say so. That's one where you're going.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm not a big fan of what the Jets have done.
Zach Wilson.
I don't think he's done anything special last week, beating the Broncos. I know that's the talk, that they won a game, but it wasn't a great stat line. 0 touchdowns and a pick. Not that many yards. I think he maybe had 200. I don't know if he did throw 200. I think it was under. But it was the Breece Hall game.
Yeah, 199.
199. Okay, so he was right there. It's the Breece Hall game. I don't know if Breece Hall gets a lot of separation against the Eagles defense when it comes to running the ball. And then you're going to rely on Zach. I don't know. I think this might be a turnover fest if you're the Jets. And I think the Eagles get their first really big blowout win of the season.
Yeah, I agree. Zach Wilson, though he even has had some better games, he doesn't throw the ball down the field almost ever.
Yeah.
And you kind of got to do that as an NFL quarterback. And the thing is, when he has thrown it down the field, he's missed a lot.
Yeah, he has.
I know he had that preseason bomb, but
I know Garrett Wilson wants it.
Oh yeah, they do. Like, he's got to take more risks, but his confidence has been shot to this point that he is so risk averse. He does not want to throw that interception, and the hate will be huge if he does.
I don't know if he really can get it going.
No,
like, I don't know if he has a career.
If these are the things that are going through your head as a quarterback, like, oh, I don't want to throw an interception, then, you've already lost the battle. He has a strong arm. That's the thing.
Well, that's what sucks is you're the number 2 pick. You kind of jumped over quarterbacks that people were very high on.
Yeah.
Like Mac Jones and Fields were guys that people thought were going 2.
Fields should have been the pick.
I would have said Fields would be the pick
Absolutely.
too.
He always was,
obviously
too.
could have been a pick too. Like, they won championships at Bama. Like, it's possible.
I could talk about this for hours.
Yes, it can come down to that. But we're talking about a guy who's been put in that spot, and he's gotten a lot of shit for it because you're put in that spot. And now the Jets are on an upward rise. The defense has been very good these past couple of years, and you have to show up. Of course, people are going to talk when that happens, and New York fans are not shy about what they say.
No, not at all. And I mean, Zach, he's got to play better. I hope that he can get out of there and go to the Tennessee Titans, so people can just kind of he can just learn to like football again.
I think he has to be a backup for a while. I can't see him in the limelight for a bigger team.
No, he needs
I think
to
he has to take a step, and he has to get a Minshew area,
or
where
a retreat, maybe.
Maybe Aaron Rodgers teaches him the ways. I think he needs a spot where he can go away and kind of watch for a little bit.
Yeah,
and
there's a guy.
And when he gets into that position where somebody goes down and he has to play, when he shows it there you go.
Yeah.
But right now, nobody really believes in you. And it sucks to say that, but that's where he is in his career.
His confidence is shot.
It's shot, and you can see it when he plays. He's not throwing the ball.
Confidence is everything.
I watched him against us. We weren't really that healthy. He was not airing the ball out. He was doing these bad checkdowns and refusing to throw some of them, and handing the ball off more times than passing. It's like you just can see the confidence not there.
It's crazy that there is a reality, for some good quarterbacks that have had really good careers that they could have been put into a position. Like if Mahomes had been drafted by the Bears or the Jets,
imagine?
He probably wouldn't be the player that we know him as today,
I mean, he gets a year behind Alex Smith. He gets Andy Reid. It's like
Kelsey,
you get a lot of those questions come up. It's positional. I mean, you could ask about any quarterback if they were in the Niners system right now, which is a lot of people's arguments about Purdy, but I agree. I'm not bashing him in any way. I love Purdy, what he brings to the Niners, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation about quarterbacks.
Let's shift over.
And this goes right into it even. I mean, Daniel Jones.
There you go. Yeah, I was going to do the same thing.
Bills. I mean,
if it is Daniel Jones, we're looking at more than likely Tyrod Taylor against his former team, the team he spent 8 years.
That's the last thing right now that the Giants need is to play the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, this schedule for them, their first half is brutal.
They might break the sack record. What is it for a team? They could get 15 sacks this game.
They're lucky.
No reason
they're very lucky that the Bills' defense is hurting in terms of who's playing. I don't know if anybody's been bumped up to active for the corners room. This is the week for the Bills to play the Giants. This is huge for them because they've gone through a lot of adversity this first half of the season, and they kind of need this in terms to get back on track. Jags last week was brutal. Losing Milano. Poyer's been dealing with stuff now. What's his name? Trey. He's out for the season again. They've lost a lot of blows here. this is the week to at least face the Giants with a battered team.
They'll have Poyer. They'll have Ed Oliver.
Okay.
Von Miller was a limited participant, so
he's still probably going to be limited. But their tight ends now are both injured.
Dawson Knox is limited,
and Kincaid.
Kincaid got hurt.
So like their offense, I don't think their offense slips up at all. Like, because it's still Diggs, it's still Allen, and they still have a really good running back in James Cook. I think he's going to take the mantle at some point. And he can catch. Like, he's just like Dalvin. I think he's just really got to be used. I think the Bills win here.
Yeah, I like the Bills all day here. I think this is going to be a real struggle for the Giants. Tons of injuries really on both sides of the ball here.
Yeah.
Kincaid limited, Dawson limited, Rousseau limited. He's very good. Shaq Lawson was a full participant, so that should help.
Yep. But another primetime game for the Giants.
Another one. They've had
this
like
is four. This is game 4. Like, they don't have. I think they
Get
have
'em
one
off
left.
TV.
Why aren't we
TV.
flexing here?
Seriously,
we can flex this game off.
I think we have to wait till like week 8.
I know
or
we have to
something.
wait,
We
but
gotta
like,
wait for a little bit. I don't know what the
what
rules.
why aren't we watching the Niners and the Browns Sunday
I
night
know.
football? Why aren't we
That's-
watching a team like Saints Texans to me would be more interesting
Yeah,
in terms of prime time.
all of the teams on primetime. I mean, most of the teams on primetime this week: Broncos,
Yep.
Giants, Chargers. All these teams are not deserving of primetime games.
I mean, I will say we're gonna get to that next. The Cowboys Chargers game entices me.
It's
I
enticing,
think this
but-
is the most fun Monday Night Football
Right.
game we're gonna get.
I'm just saying the Chargers.
But I
have been
agree, they
inept.
haven't been what people thought they were gonna be. I just like, who made the schedule and decided these were the primetime games this early on? Like, you gotta want people to watch football all season and tune into these games. I've said it. Every Monday night game I've watched has been pretty boring.
They have been boring. We're getting another one Sunday night. We are.
Sunday night's going to be tough to watch. I don't know. I think the Bills are going to heavy handle
Yeah,
this.
Bills
one
will
too.
handle them. A lot of pass rush. Tough
Yep.
game for the Giants. And then the Monday night Cowboys Chargers. Some offense we should see. Chargers. Man, they just coach themselves out of games.
They
all
do.
The time. It's
I've been
frustrating.
saying that. I'm not a fan of Staley, and I don't know if that's affected Herbert negatively all the way yet. But I mean, you can't be coughing up games like this. And last week they had the week off, and obviously we saw what the Cowboys had. They had a really tough week. So both teams need to win this one.
Yeah, this is a big game for both teams. The Cowboys are probably a little more talented. They have a lot more going for them on the defense. But the Chargers have a pretty proficient offense. I'm going to pick the Chargers here, and I'm going to hope that what I
Okay.
think happens does. And I think, Keenan Allen just dominates because the Cowboys don't really have great corners.
Yeah, I mean, Gilmore is not the same, and no Trayvon Diggs. You
Yeah.
know, I don't know if that's enough to slow down a guy like Keenan Allen.
This could be one of those 200-yard Keenan Allen
You
games.
think?
Like, I think this could be like a 15 reception.
But what if Micah is all the way in the pocket every time and he's
Yeah.
affecting the throws?
No, that's
Like,
true. They'll get a good pass rush, but I think this is a game you go to a lot of slants to Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
Quick stuff, get the running. I think Eckler might even be coming back this week.
I believe he is. That is a big
So
help.
That'll
for the
help.
Chargers.
I think could be a big game for the Chargers. And it would be a huge win. It would mean a lot for them as a team. It would give them some confidence that they really don't have right now.
I mean,
Even
starting at 0-2, 2-2 now, week 6 you kind of need a win. They haven't played the Chiefs yet.
Mhm.
Those are two games that are going to be tough to watch for them. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I think they can contest. I'd have to look at the rest of their schedule, but this is a big one. This Cowboys defense is no joke, even without Trayvon Diggs.
I think this is a big game for the Chargers, but I think they win it. I think that they're good. And I just
It's so
think-
tough because this would contradict everything I think about the Chargers. I don't think the Chargers are as good as people have said they are, and they win games too. They're gonna put up a good record, I think, overall this season. And Dallas is coming. They have to rebound. They've all been trying to talk their way up, and
Yeah.
I don't know if the talk is really gonna show up on the field for the Cowboys. So I guess I'm gonna pick the Chargers too.
Are you going Chargers?
It's half-hearted though, because I don't like it. I don't like the pick at all.
I don't
But
feel great about either team there, but I
No.
think the Chargers, just schematically, I just think they're a little more healthy.
Let me look at our picks are very similar, but there are some different. I don't want to tie and like just come down to it, but I don't know what we're getting out of Eckler. This dude's been out for weeks.
That's true.
And no Mike Williams. Yeah, this is tough. I don't want to. You know what? Let me be different.
Taking the Cowboys.
Let me take the Cowboys.
Different.
Let me be different.
Man.
We've been very similar today.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if we have enough differences to really set us apart.
Well, you never know. It depends on which games.
We do have a lot. We do have a good
right
couple. But you know what? I don't stand behind the Chargers, and I'm not going to today. Give me the Cowboys.
Very nice. The Cowboys getting it done in L.A.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one though. That could get. That's why I like that Monday night game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that'll wrap it up. Getting the picks in for the week. Thank you for joining us with the Blowout Sports Podcast. This has been Ryan Hayes.
I'm Dylan Bracha.
Thanks for joining us.